1988. Heavily armed militants have taken over Room 14 inside the Golden Temple. Outside, the military is completely frozen. The last time the army went in with guns blazing, it caused a national trauma, and the government refuses to risk another high-casualty frontal assault. A lone man in dirty clothes pedals a cycle rickshaw around the perimeter, quietly memorizing guard positions before slipping inside. To the militants, his Urdu and accent are flawless. He tells them Pakistan's ISI sent him to help. That man was Ajit Doval. After cutting their water and power in the blistering heat, he walked in and out of the temple, feeding fake intelligence to the militants and gathering their exact coordinates for the snipers outside. Days later, their morale broke, and they surrendered without a single shot fired. Late 20th century India was fracturing. Insurgencies and violent religious riots were tearing through states. The standard government response was brute military force, which frequently bred more resentment and more violence. These failures demonstrated a tactical void in Indian security. To solve a siege like the Golden Temple, the government required an operative who could dismantle a movement from within, using psychological manipulation and infiltration. 17 years earlier, the Thalassery riots in Kerala proved exactly how ineffective heavily armed police could be. Religious factions were looting and burning shops, and the local force was too intimidated to even enter the district. A 26-year-old Ajit Doval walked in without a baton. He realized the violence was fueled by rage over stolen property. So he tracked down the looted goods, returned them to their owners, and sat down to negotiate directly with the riot leaders. The chaos evaporated in less than a week. The swift resolution without the use of force caught the attention of senior leadership in Delhi. This methodology became his trademark. The Prime Minister pulled him out of local policing and dropped him straight into the Intelligence Bureau's Direct Operations Wing. Soon, he was sent to Mizoram. A separatist group had replaced the Indian flag with their own, backed by 7 heavily armed rebel commanders. Conventional military force was deemed too risky, as it would likely trigger a statewide uprising. Doval crossed into the mountains of Myanmar, operating deep undercover. He drank with the rebel commanders daily and even invited them to his house for dinner. His wife cooked the meals, completely unaware she was feeding the most wanted militants in the region. Over 2 years, he chipped away at their loyalty. 6 of those 7 commanders eventually flipped to India's side, leaving their leader entirely isolated and forcing a peace treaty. The geopolitical stakes escalated. When India caught wind of Pakistan's Kahuta nuclear program, Doval spent 7 years embedded in Islamabad. To gather intel near the highly secure nuclear labs, he roamed the streets disguised as a beggar. The margin for error was non-existent. Once, a local nearly blew his cover by questioning his pierced ears, a Hindu tradition. Another time, at a Sufi shrine, someone casually pointed out that his fake beard was beginning to peel. By 2005, Doval was hunting Dawood Ibrahim, the underworld boss responsible for horrific attacks across India. When intel confirmed Dawood would attend a family function in Dubai, Doval recruited shooters from a rival gang to carry out the hit. Doval arranged fake passports and flights. He sat with the shooters in a Delhi hotel room, meticulously breaking down the hotel layout, entry points, and Yitzhak sequence to eliminate the target. Then the door flew open. Mumbai police detectives barged in. They didn't know about Doval's classified operation. They only knew they had warrants for the 2 hitmen. Despite Doval's furious arguments, the officers arrested the men, and the assassination plot collapsed. Years of tactical planning vanished in an afternoon because Doval had no official rank to stop the local police. He realized that as long as he remained an outside agent, his most ambitious operations could be dismantled by a single uncoordinated precinct. To protect his future missions, he needed to move from the shadows into a position with legal, top-down authority. Doval officially retired, but he immediately set up a massive think tank, the Viva Veka International Foundation, which provided him a platform to influence national policy. In 2011, his foundation published an explosive report on Indian money hidden in secret offshore banks. This research provided the intellectual framework for nationwide anti-corruption strikes led by activists like Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal. These protests became a national movement that focused public anger on the ruling Congress Party. By providing the research that fueled the strikes, Doval's foundation helped erode the government's credibility, contributing to their defeat in the following general election. In 2014, the new prime minister took office. His first major appointment was giving Ajit Doval the role of National Security Advisor, granting him the institutional authority to coordinate every intelligence agency in the country. He immediately shifted India's decades-old posture of simply blocking attacks at the border. He implemented a defensive-offensive doctrine, which prioritized striking the sources of security threats before they could manifest on Indian soil. That doctrine authorized the Uri surgical strikes, the Balakot airstrikes, and the complete revocation of Article 370 in Kashmir. Every major security operation in the last decade has been filtered through his office. The man who spent decades as a nameless operative in the field now oversees every high-level intelligence briefing in India, effectively serving as the final filter for the nation's most sensitive security decisions.